Good morning, Dr. Elema.
Good morning, Amina. How are you?
I'm great, thank you. So, as a U.S. elections expert, what can you tell us about what is going on currently?
Well, right now, a couple of days after the election, we still don't know the final results. We're waiting for results in 4 states, which will tell us whether Joe Biden or Donald Trump has won the election. If I had a crystal ball, I would guess that things are going to go in Joe Biden's favor, but we really don't know at this point. And so it's really important for people to be patient and to wait for the votes to come in.
It's a very close call, and I've spoken to several family who live in the United States, and it seems that there's a lot of, not confusion, but surprise at the fact that the ballots are so close, that the votes are so close, I should say.
Yes, in some ways, I think Americans should not be so surprised because all of the early polls predicted that Hillary Clinton would win in 2016, and everyone was quite shocked when Donald Trump won. And so I think Americans learned a really big lesson 4 years ago, which is that you can't rely on polls and you need to get people out to vote. So I think we shouldn't be surprised that it's close again, despite the fact that before the election, the polls really did show that Joe Biden had a much more significant lead. So certainly, once again, I think a lot of Americans are surprised by how close it is. And I think also Americans are used to knowing the results of our elections, typically on election day, and we're not used to having to wait for a couple of days. And a lot of us have been staying up all night following the latest developments. So I think there's a lot of anxiety amongst both Republicans and Democrats right now.
That's very true. I think Americans are very used to knowing what's going to happen. Now, if President Trump's suit is heard, how long do you think it will take for us to know the final results? And how do you think that they will favor him?
Well, I think we should keep in mind that there has never been a suit that has changed the result of a U.S. presidential election. I think it's extraordinarily unlikely to be the case this time. So I think that the final results that we know, most likely later today here in the U.S., will hold. And will tell us who will be the next president of the United States. I do think we're all going to have to be patient while this process plays out over the next couple of months, but I very much doubt that any of these suits will change the outcome of the election because while Donald Trump may wish to not count ballots in the United States, that's just not how our democracy works. The way it works is that everyone gets to vote, and the winner is determined by the Electoral College. And I can tell you that no judge is going to change that. No judge is going to say that since Donald Trump wants to be president, we shouldn't count some votes for Biden. So I really do not believe that these suits will change the outcome of the election.
It's definitely a very nail-biting situation. Now, before I let you go, just how easy is it to commit voter fraud using mail-in ballots, as the president has been claiming, now that you've actually just brought this up?
Yeah, and that rarely happens. We have quite a bit of evidence from past elections in the United States, and that type of fraud is just practically unheard of. I think that, Donald Trump has known that mail-in ballots tend to come from Democrats, and so he hasn't wanted them counted. But once again, that's not how our democracy works. I think everyone can have faith in the veracity of mail-in ballots. There is just no history of fraud. There is no reason to suspect fraud in this case. And indeed, that's because it just sort of doesn't happen. We can trust our postal service. We can trust our system. And once again, while Donald Trump may wish that he can get rid of some votes for Biden, it's not going to happen.
I see. Well, the rest of the world is watching with you. We may also most likely be staying up all night waiting for these results. So all the best. Thank you, Dr. Elema.
My pleasure.